what are some of the situations that come to mind where you've seen both positive and negative attributes of culture as it affects the landscape of strategy?
There are definitely circumstances where I think that culture eats strategy, but a maybe a positive way that I like to look at that is that culture feeds strategy. And so
Hmm.
you have to consider, what is it that you're trying to feed? What is it you're trying to make happen? And if we just look at this from sort of the way life works, right? What we feed survives and what we don't feed doesn't survive. So what are we giving energy and life, and what are we feeding, right? And culture has a lot to do with that. So we can put the best strategies in place, but if we don't have a culture that feeds and supports those things, it fizzles out, it dies. We say, whatever happened to that idea? Even if we look at something as formal as a strategic plan. So let me give an example right there. How often do we encounter organizations, and we see this in our search work, right? When we're doing presidential searches, and we say, do you all have a strategic plan? Do you have a master plan? Do you have an institutional planning process? Right? We'd like to see that. We'd like to get familiar with that. We'd like to be able to provide that to potential, incoming participants in the search process. And more often than not, there's something in place. And sometimes what we hear is, well, yeah, we have that, right? We put something together, but we haven't done much with that. It's kind of on the shelf, or, we don't really follow that. So the phrase of strategy is literally in the name of the document, strategic planning document, right? And yet if you don't have a culture that's feeding what that document is about, what it contains, it's not really going to have any impact. It just becomes something that's put on the shelf. The opposite of that can be true, where when what's in there is really like baked into the culture of who the institution is, you begin to hear these very robust examples about how that is not just a document, but is like a living piece of work, right? And as you talk to different stakeholders around the table, they can tell you what is in there, how it impacts their work, how it shapes and drives their work. But I think, the three of us can probably, we won't list institutions, but we probably could list institutions right now falling into those two different camps, and then everything in the middle there as well.